Students will continue the slope stability. In the previous classes we were discussing about the different methods. We completed the Swedish slip circle method. Then we also discussed this is for a purely cohesive soil. Then we discussed about the Swedish method of slices. This is for a C5 soil. C5 soils. Now we will try to discuss the other two methods. The friction circle method and the next one is Taylor's stability number and stability chart, stability curves. Now we will go to the friction circle method. Now in all these methods the presumption is that the slip arc is part of a circle. Now for a given slip center, now let us take there is a so let us say this is the slope, and for this slope we have a trial slip center and it passes through the toe. Let us say this is the slip center. Now let me draw a line joining the now we need to understand how this friction circle method develops. Okay. Now if this is the slip center O, if I draw a concentric circle, the radius is R. Okay, now I'll draw a concentric circle with a radius R sin phi. Now the material properties are C and phi. Okay. Now let me draw a concentric circle here. A concentric circle passing through the center O. Now the premise is that if I draw any line tangential to this, let me draw a line tangential to this. Let us say I take some line here. I draw a line tangent to the friction circle or a concentric circle. Now, if I draw a line passing through the center, draw a line passing through the center, that will be the normal line. Now let us say this is the normal at this position, and this is found to pass at an inclination. This will be at an inclination phi. Let me take another tangential line. Let me draw one more tangential line. Let me call this the interaction points as E1 and this is E2 or E. Either way, this is E1, this is E2. Similarly, if I draw a radial line passing to the center of the slip circle, this will be the normal, and if I extend this line, this inclination is going to be, this is going to be phi. Anywhere, wherever I draw a line tangential. Now let me call these points as F2, this is F1. Now you have to understand that this is the elemental reaction delta R. This is also an elemental reaction delta R. Okay. The reaction is, now see here, this inclination, see if you have got any friction force, let us go from the basic mechanics. Now this is the body, it has got some weight W. Now the normal reaction will be normal to this. And there will be, see if I am trying to pull this body, okay, there is a, so let us say P, not F, let us say this P. Now when I am pulling this body, there will be a opposite friction force. This is F. The resultant will be R. This is the resultant R out between the friction force and the normal reaction. Therefore, this angle will be phi. Similarly, this is the normal. Okay, now this is the friction force. This should be this is the delta R. This will be the delta R. Delta R is the elemental reaction on the slip arc. This is an elemental. Now let us say this distance, elemental distance, let it be delta L. Let this elemental distance be delta L, third length. Therefore, this is the elemental reaction. In other words, if I try to draw any line, the slip circle, okay, now there is a cohesive force, Cu into L arc. There will be a reaction because there is a friction force. Now the cohesive force is trying to resist, okay, therefore there will be a resistive force. Now if I draw that as the resistive force R, this is nothing but R is the reaction, frictional reaction, similar to this reaction. Now this reaction is summation of the elemental reactions. Okay. Now if I take these two elemental reactions, delta R and this delta R, now if I draw, okay, it will be passing through another point F, which will be missing this. Okay, now this will be the, let me use another color so that you can differentiate. This will be the resultant of the two forces, elemental, okay, the elemental reaction delta R and another elemental delta R. Now the resultant will be passing through a point F instead of passing through as a tangent to the friction circle. Therefore, it will be missing the friction circle by a small amount. Therefore, if I try to analyze this and if I try to draw for the entire slip arc, if this reaction R is drawn, this will be tangential to this elemental reaction will be tangential to this reaction will be tangential to. Now if I draw a normal at this point, okay, this normal, if I draw a normal to this point, what happens? This normal, there will be an inclination, this is phi. Therefore, the reaction is always inclined at an angle phi to the normal at that position, and this reaction is going to be tangential and it will be missing the circle which has got a radius. This radius is r into sin phi, whereas this radius is slightly more. This is k times of r into sin phi. Now the error introduced is very small, but k is a very small value. We will try to see how to get that value. Now this k value depends upon this slope angle I. For different slope angles, we have got different values of I. Varying, the maximum value may be around k is equal to 1.2. We will try to see how to find out that. Now for most practical purposes, we can neglect this k value and take this frequency circle, and at limit equilibrium, we got three forces which are acting here. We got basically the weight W of the wedge A, B, D, A. This wedge A, B, D, A. Now because of this weight, we have got the weight W. Now at limit equilibrium, this weight W, this cohesive force and this resultant R, the reaction R, are in equilibrium. It is at the verge of failure, but it has not failed. Now let us try to understand. The weight W is a linear vector. R is a linear vector. And CUL arc is a curvilinear vector. Now I can convert this curvilinear vector into, now what is the cohesive force? Cu into that cohesive force, elemental cohesive force, the elemental cohesive force is equal to the mobilized cohesion into delta L. Therefore, for the entire slip arc AB, for entire slip arc AB, the cohesive force or the total cohesive force is equal to Cm into sigma of delta L, which will become Cm into L arc. One can, now we need to find out this, what is this mobilized cohesion. All our exercise in this chapter is to find out the factor of safety. Please note in your mind that I need to find out this factor of safety. How to find out this factor of safety is my question. Now this is one force among the other three forces which is under equilibrium. Now let us try to understand what are the other two forces. Now before going to that, we need to also understand how to get this value of K. Now if I plot from 0, 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, 120, and okay. This is 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, 120. This is the slope angle I, and this value of k. This will be 1, 1.02, 1 another thing. Value is 1.04, 1.08, 1.12, 1.16. Something like this. Your k value goes up to the horizontal lines so that you can get an idea how this works. It goes up to 130, some idea. Now, depending upon our slope angle, we can read out, if my slope angle is 45 degrees, I can read out, okay, I get a value of 1.02 something. It's very quite less. Okay, the error introduced, see, most of our slopes, it will be somewhere between 40 degrees to say 50, 60. Okay, the error induced in this region, therefore you are not going to have much error introduced, therefore we can neglect and we will consider only the friction circle. Now, how to, all our exercise here is to find out what is the mobilized cohesion. What is meant by mobilized cohesion? How much amount of cohesion is mobilized? One, there is a slip taking place. Okay, how much force, cohesive force is mobilized? Assuming that the full friction value is mobilized. Now, you may question me what is that full friction energy or frictional force is mobilized. I'll explain to you once again. Okay, now before going to that, what are the forces in equilibrium? Forces in equilibrium at critical condition. At critical condition. First one is the weight of the wedge. Weight of the wedge W. The second one is the cohesive force C, which is equal to Cm into L arc. The third one is the reaction R. Now, where W is the only quantity which can be found out, because I know my geometry, I know my failure arc, I know my central angle delta. I can find out this geometry and I can find out what is its weight, because I can find out, I can divide into small units, I can find out the area of individual units, and I can find out the area of the entire slip wedge. Now, what is the weight? Weight is equal to area of the wedge into 1 meter perpendicular to the board gives the volume. This is nothing but the volume into unit weight. Therefore, I get my wedge. Okay, weight. Okay, I know my weight of the wedge. Now, I don't need the reaction, but I want this. This is my required quantity. To get this, I can form a force triangle. But the problem is, this is a linear vector. Okay, this is a linear vector because I know my direction of action. Because I am using this friction circle to decide the line of action of this. I am not interested in R, I am interested in Cm. W, I know it acts at the center of this area, this CG. Therefore, I can, okay, now actually this will be let me draw this. This is the weight W. Now how to form the first triangle? Now what I can do is, this is a vector. I think maybe I am blocking the board. I'll try to put here. Now I got this vector representing Cu into L arc. This is the cohesive vector. Now, if you look here, this is the chord AB. This is the chord AB. Now, this is a polygon. This is a vector. This is a vector which has to be. Now, this is the closing line. Means this is parallel to the chord. This is the first polygon, which is a chord polygon, parallel to chord AB. This is the closing line. Therefore, what I can do is, I can replace this curved cohesive force by, now I know this is acting at this position. Now instead of that, if I have a linear vector which is a cohesive force, Cu, cohesive force which is equal to Cm into, instead of, now what is the distance here? This is acting at a radial distance r, this is r. Instead of that, I try to find out what is the distance. Let me call this distance from the center as RA. Okay. Now I can find out this Cm into L, Cm into L chord or LA, sorry, L chord LC. Okay. This is nothing but, LC is nothing but the chord length AB. Okay. Now what I am doing, instead of I am replacing this quantity, now I will try to write Cm into LR is equal to, such that I am placing at a greater distance. Therefore, what I am going to do, I am going to get what is that distance. Okay, now I need to is also equal to L into Cm into L. Now, this length and this length are different. Therefore, to get that L chord, what I will do is, I need to find out this distance. Sorry, I am making a mistake. I have to find out the distance RA. Instead of using R, I will try to, I will multiply by L chord by L arc. Therefore, this arc length is less, this chord length is more. Sorry, the curved length is more. The arc length is more and the chord length is less. Therefore, what happens? L arc and L chord. Okay, instead of that, I will write it as, because the arc length is like this, L chord. This is, now this distance is less and this quantity is more. Therefore, what happens? Your ratio becomes more. Therefore, RA is displaced compared to R, it will be more. Therefore, I am drawing a line which is parallel to this chord. Okay, these two are parallel. I am getting a cohesive force such that this cohesive force is equal to this cohesive force. Okay. Now I have got the direction of the cohesive force, which is upward in the opposite direction of the movement of the slip arc, and I have got the weight W, I have got my R. Now I will form a force triangle. Now how to form the force triangle? Now I have got the weight W. To scale, see, I can calculate the W value and I can to scale and draw a vector. Then at one portion I am going to see, this is the head, this is the tail, and this is the head of the force vector. Now I am going to draw a line parallel to the chord. Okay, I am going to draw a line parallel to the chord, and I got the reaction R. I know my direction of the reaction R. From here I draw a line parallel to the reaction R. Now this completes this is the reaction R, this is the cohesive force C, which is equal to Cm into L chord. Okay, now with this, if I scale it out, I can scale this quantity, scale it out, and I know what is, this is the mobilized cohesive force. I can find out what is Cm from this. Once I get my Cm, I can find out what is my factor of safety with respect to cohesion, because I know my cohesion, unit cohesion, this is small cohesion, small c divided by Cm. Therefore, I get my factor of safety with respect to cohesion. This is all my procedure in finding out my mobilized cohesion. Now, for a particular slip center, for the given properties of the material, for this given geometry I can find out my mobilized cohesion, and from that I can find out my factor of safety with respect to cohesion. Then there is further procedure. This is an elaborate thing. This is a very elaborate thing. Using this, Taylor has made it very much simple to find out or design the slope, or design a slope for a required factor of safety, or find out the factor of safety with respect to cohesion using the chart which has been made very simple. We will continue that through an example. Students, we have seen for a given trial slip circle, how I am going to do the friction circle. I am going to take, say I got my material properties C and phi. Now these are the two shear strength parameters. They are like partners in a company. Now, how much shear strength has been mobilized? Now, usually it is assumed that friction mobilizes to a greater extent and cohesion will be not mobilized easily. Therefore, we try to find out what is the factor of safety such that the factor of safety with respect to a slope is such that both friction and cohesion are equally mobilized. To find out this, what we do is we first take F5. We assume certain value of F5. Let us say I take F5 is equal to say 1.1. Then what I do, what is F5? F5 is equal to, how to get F5? F5 means it is the factor of safety with respect to friction, which is equal to phi divided by phi m. When I assume this 1.1, I know, for example, this value of phi is say 30 degrees for a given problem, and this is say 20 kilonewton per meter square. Now what I do is, I know my phi, I take the factor of safety is 1.1. Now what is this value of phi m? From this I get phi m is equal to 30 divided by 1.1. Now this value is definitely less than 30 degrees. Then what I do is, I find out the concentric circle's radius as r into sine phi m. Therefore what I do, I draw this slope to a certain scale. I got my trial slip center and I got a trial slip circle. I draw from the center a circle of radius r into sine phi m. This is r. Right? Students, we need to get, now I assumed Fi is equal to 1.1. Now what is my factor safety with respect to cohesion is the question mark. Now to get this, I know my C, I know this C. Now this FC can be found out only if I find out CM. To get this CM, what I am going to do, for this trial slip circle, I am going to form the force triangle. I am going to find out what is W. I know what is my R. R will be passing, okay, this is R, and I got my cohesive force parallel to the chord. This is the cohesive force, sorry, this is the cohesive force into L chord. Now I'll form my force triangle. This is W to scale. Because I know I can quantify W, I can draw to scale. What I'll do next is, I'll try to draw a line parallel to the reaction R, which is passing through the circle concentrated as tangent. Then I draw this line. I draw a thin line. Then I got my cohesive force. Now I'm going to find out this distance. This distance I can call it as A or RA, whatever that RA can be found out. Now from this other end, okay, that is the end of, okay, from the tail I have drawn this R and I draw another construction line parallel to this cohesive force. Wherever this intersect, okay, I complete the force triangle. This is R and this is CM. Then I erase the construction lines. Okay, now I am left with the force triangle. Now what I can do is, I can scale out to that scale, to the same scale what I have drawn this W, I can scale out CM, I can find out what is its value. Once I get my value of CM, I substitute here, I get my factor safety with respect to cohesion. Then what I do, I do the next trial. I increase this, I go to the, this is the trial 1. Okay, this is my ultimate term, okay. In the trial 2, what I do, trial 2, I repeat. I take Fi is equal to 1.2. Then I find out what is my Phi m. It becomes 30 divided by 1.2. I get this value. For that, I draw one more trial, concentric circle. Then I repeat the procedure. I get my Cm. Now for this, again I get what is Fc. Now what happens when Fi increases, when this friction becomes more safe. Okay, earlier it was contributing more. This factor safety means I am not ready to spend more friction. I want let cohesion also participate in the load taking, load sharing phenomena. Therefore, what happens? This compared to the first thing, Fc, if say Fc is say 1.4 in the first case, in this case what happens? It becomes 1.3. It reduces because this is increasing. Therefore, this has to be reduced. Like this, I do some 4-5 trials and I get different values of Fc for. Now, Fc depends upon the Fi value that you are going to assume. Therefore, let me, because the x variable is always a dependent variable, y is an independent variable. Therefore, what I do is, I try to, no sorry, y is dependent upon x. Okay, now x is the, now let me draw f phi here on the x-axis. This is 0, this is 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, 1.4. This is the independent variable. This is the dependent variable. To the same scale, because you have got the same parameters, you will be using. This is 1. This is 1.2, 1.3, 1.4. Now, when I add the factor safety of Fi is equal to 1.1, maybe I got 1.39 or something. When I increase my factor safety, it is getting reduced. When I am still increasing, I am getting a reduced value of Fc. Then when I still increase, now what is happening? There is a decrease in your factor safety with respect to cohesion when the factor safety with respect to friction is increasing. Therefore, I get different values. I draw a curve. Then I try to draw a 45-degree line. I draw a 45-degree line. This is 45-degree line. This is the line of equality. Then I get wherever it intersects the curve, okay, I draw a vertical. I get a factor of safety. Now this value is Fc equal to F5. F is equal to approximately 1.2. My work is not slightly not correct. Okay, I get a value. This value and this value will be same. That is the factor of safety for this given geometry. For the given properties of C and phi, I have got a factor of safety where when both friction and cohesion are equally mobilized, this is the factor of safety. This is the procedure. Now let us take a numerical example on this and try to understand how to solve this problem. Let me the slip radius is r is equal to 22 meters. The slope height is say 14 meters. Let me check it out. And angle of inclination, high slope inclination is 45 degrees. Phi value, the properties are phi is equal to 15 and the cohesion is 15 kilonewton per meter square and unit weight is equal to 18 kilonewton per meter cube. This is the data given, and to find the factor safety with respect to cohesion. So in the examination, you will not be having time, you are not going to do this, okay, you are not going to do many trials and get this curve, and you are not going to find out this, okay, this is not needed. But this is the procedure how to find out the factor safety. But in the examination for one trial slip center, you are going to find out only what is FC. Okay, now what is asked, okay, the weight of the wedge is also given. The weight of the wedge is 1500 kilonewton and it acts at a horizontal distance of 10.3 meters from toe. So this is the information given. Now let me show how to draw this. With this data, now I got my slope angle, that is 45 degrees. Draw a line at 45 degrees. This is I is equal to 45 degrees. Now the height is given as 14 meters. Take a suitable scale, then you scale it out and you draw. Okay, now this height is h is equal to 14 meters. Now, yes, given a radius, I think for this we'll have to use for this value of phi. Okay, you need to use for this given slope. Okay, this is I is given. This is 1:1. Okay, now I can use these Fellinius angles alpha and beta. I can read out from the, if you refer to standard textbooks, it will have the Fellinius angles. I can find out what is this angle alpha, what is the angle beta. Therefore, I can find out that angles alpha and beta. I get my trial slip center O. Once I get that, okay, from the toe, I can draw a slip arc. Okay, now I got my slip center, I got my central angle. Now he has given this weight is acting, he has given the value. From the toe, from this toe, it is acting at a distance of, okay, this weight W is acting at a distance of 10.3 meters. This is 10.3 meters. Okay, I know what is my weight W. Weight W is equal to 1500 kilonewton. I know my quantity, I know my line of action, therefore I can get this. Okay, now what I can do is I can join this chord. Okay, this is the chord, this is B, this is D. I can join this and I can find out what is this chord length. Once I get my chord length, I know what is my chord length. LA is equal to how much? Sorry, chord, okay, chord. I can measure to that scale. Then L arc is equal to LA is equal to pi by 180 into R into pi by 180 into delta degrees into R. Now I can find out this arc length. Chord length is obtained here from the measurement. Then I can find out the direction of the cohesive force C, which is equal to Cm into L chord. Now to find out this distance RA, this is R, I can find out what is that RA. RA is equal to, I am going to multiply by some quantity to the value of R. What is that quantity? It is the ratio of L R to L chord. Because this ratio is going to be more than 1, therefore when I multiply to that R, I got my direction of Cm. Okay, Cm into L chord. This is the cohesive force. I know my weight W. I know my reaction. If I draw a friction circle here, okay, I can draw wherever this intersect. Okay, from there I can draw a line tangential to the friction circle. Therefore, my direction of R is also fixed. I'll repeat once again because you need to understand. First, draw this slope to a scale. Okay. Now take this angle 45 degrees. I am drawing a line. I know my height is 14 meters. You can take scale of 1:200. I get 7 meters. Means 7 centimeters. Then wherever it intersects, you draw a horizontal line. Now this Fellinius angles can be taken for a slope angle 45 degrees. I can find out what is alpha and beta. You can refer to the standard chart which is given in the tables in textbooks. Now once you get that angle alpha and beta, from the slope inclined surface of the slope, measure an angle alpha. Okay, this angle is alpha. And with respect to the horizontal, measure beta. Draw these two lines wherever it meets. Okay, it is the center of your slip center. With this as center, you draw an arc passing through the toe. You get your slip center, slip circle cutting the horizontal surface. Now, he has given what is the quantity of weight for this wedge. Otherwise, you can divide into small slices and you can find out the area of individual thing and find out the sum of the area of all the individual slices. You get the area of the total wedge. you can multiply by 1, multiply by the unit weight, you get your weight. To reduce your time and effort in the examination, they give you this kind of information, that is the weight. Now, he has also given the direction, the line of action of W. He is telling from the toe it is acting at a distance 10.3 meters. Draw this, okay, you have drawn this direction. Now, we can measure this coordinate. We join A, B, and we can measure this to scale. You know what is the chord length L chord, that you know down. Then measure the central angle delta. Find out what is the arc length. Pi by 180 into delta into degrees into R. Okay, I am converting delta degrees into radians by multiplying by 180, pi by 180. I get the chord length, arc length. Once I get my arc length and chord length, I can take the ratio of the arc length to the chord length, I multiply it to the radius r, I get my RA, that is the distance at which I can draw the equivalent vector. Instead of a inclined cohesive vector, curved vector, I am drawing a linear vector to represent the cohesive force. Okay, to represent the cohesive force, okay, I am trying to make use of this ratio. Now what I have to do? Now I can form a force triangle. Take to scale. Now what is my weight W? Weight is 1500. Therefore I can take 3 centimeter representing weight W, or it may be 1/2 centimeter, 0.5, 0.5, 0.5, that is 1/2 centimeter representing the weight W. Next, what I am going to do, I got the center, I am going to draw a concentric circle R into sin phi. Phi is being given, R is given. I can draw, R is not given, okay, I think R is also given, okay, you can find out the R. Now, once I draw this semicircle, what I have to do, I get my direction of the resultant reaction R. Now what I am going to do here, I am going to draw a line parallel to R, this line, okay. Then from the head of the arrow, okay, this representing the force vector W, I draw a line to represent the cohesive force, I draw another line, okay. Then I am forming the force triangle. I get my force triangle completed, draw the arrow, draw this arrow, okay, erase this construction line. This is the mobilized cohesion into L, mobilized cohesion, this is the cohesive force into, okay, L. Okay. Now once I get my cohesive force, I know what is this is the mobilized cohesion, therefore I can find out what is, from the cohesive force, I can find out what is, because I know Cy, this value, okay, I can find out Cy, L card, I can get my Cm. Once I get my Cm, I can get my factor safety with respect to cohesion, C by Cm, therefore I get my factor safety with respect to cohesion. Okay, now this force triangle gives you the way to find out the mobilized cohesion. To get your mobilized cohesion, okay, we're doing all these things. Okay. You can work out this independently. I got a factor safety of 2.55. Okay, factor safety has come to 2.55. Maybe slight variation, 10% variation is allowed. From the graph, okay, I got 0.9. I got around I don't know, I've done something, okay. Scale, you can get this value of factor safety 2.55. Here you'll have to use, because I'm drawing parallel to the chord length, this will become cm into L chord. Okay, I need to use L chord here because I know this value here. Okay, I can to this quantity if I divide. Okay, I get my cm. Whatever I got here, this is C. Therefore, I am dividing by L chord. Okay, I get my cm. Cm can be used to get F factor safety with respect to cohesion. Okay, now Taylor tried to simplify this procedure. What he did is using this friction circle, he tried to use different angle slope inclinations and different values of phi. Phi usually varies. Okay, what he has done, I see you can have a vertical cut. Vertical cut, what happens? Phi is equal to 90 degrees. Okay, this is a vertical cut. Now this is a exceptional thing. Okay, normally we will have some slopes. Okay, usually 50-60 degrees is the maximum steepness we have. Now what he has done is for different values of phi, varying from 5 to say 30 or something, he tried to do. He has done a lot of graphical constructions and he has found out what is the factor safety with respect to cohesion, and he tried to bring out charts. Before that, we will try to discuss the important parameter is given called the Taylor's stability number. What is that stability number? We will discuss in the next section. What is that stability number? He tries to give the stability number. Therefore, let us try to take Taylor's to understand the stability number for any slope at critical equilibrium. If I got at critical condition or critical equilibrium, what is the resisting force? Resisting force is proportional to what is the resisting force? Is the cohesion of the soil and the height of the. Now, this is the height of the slope. If you increase the height of the slope, this length is going to increase. Therefore, height it is proportional to the height, and more is the cohesion, more is the resisting force. The disturbing force or driving force. The driving force is proportional to the weight. Okay, now weight is proportional to, and also the weight is proportional to the area and the unit weight, because more is the unit weight of the material. If this increases, the weight increases. And area. Now area is proportional to square of the height, means it is a dimension square. Therefore, this is in turn proportional to the unit weight and h square. Therefore, this is the force which is creating instability. This is a force which is trying to stabilize or restrain it, okay, from failing. Therefore, my factor of safety, okay, now what is the factor of safety is proportional to, okay, is proportional to, okay, now usually factor of safety, how do I define? Factor of safety is defined as the resisting force to the driving force. I think this is the fundamental definition which I have given in the first class. Therefore, I can say the factor of safety depends upon, is proportional to the cohesive force C and the height h, and it is inversely proportional to the unit weight and square of the height. Right? Okay, what he did is he tried to simplify this and he said the factor safety depends upon C. Okay, if your cohesion increases, factor safety linearly increases, and the unit weight increases, the factor safety reduces, and the height increases, the factor safety reduces. Now you try to replace this by a stability number called Sn. This, in other words, Sn is nothing but the Taylor's stability number which is given as C by Fc diameter h. This we try to use it to find out, the use of the stability number is to find out what is the factor safety. If using Sn, I got three applications. Let me write here applications of Sn. The Sn or the stability number. Basically, I got two important applications. One is to find out what is the factor safety with respect to cohesion. The second one is for a given factor safety, what is the slope angle? I can design my slope. I want this factor safety. What slope height? I got my properties. I got my slope height. I got my cohesion. I got my angle of internal friction, and I got my unit weight. For that, what angle if I have got my prescribed factor safety. It is going to be safe. Okay, these are the two important applications. Now we will try to see how to work out this. There are so many things which you need to understand in addition to this, not only understanding it. What he tried to do, he made using the friction circle the process very easy. He developed a chart. Let me draw that chart. Okay, how that chart. Okay, now basically your stability number depends upon the factor safety or the depends upon the stability number. In turn, you got 5 parameters. Okay, one is the cohesion of the soil, the angle of interfriction, mobilized cohesion, mobilized friction angle, the unit weight, and you got the height of the slope and the inclination of the slope. These are the 5 parameters based on which you are going to the stability number is dependent upon, and this stability number indirectly tells what is the factor safety with respect to cohesion. Now, there is one additional term. If you got a purely cohesive soil, phi equal to 0, therefore there is one more term called the depth factor. We introduced a term called depth factor, which we call it as df. That means to say, now if I got a slope like this, okay, now I got a hard stratum here, this is a cohesive soil. Okay. Now the height of the slope is h. The depth to a hard stratum d. This is a hard stratum or relatively hard compared to a cohesive soil. Now what happens if I have got a steeper slope? So if I got a very steep slope, say more than say 53 degrees, greater than that, what happens? Definitely your slip center will pass through this slope. Now for angles, okay, slope angles less than 53 degrees. Now what happens? Whenever you got a cohesive soil here as a medium, the slope, the slip circle depends upon the depth to the heart stratum. Therefore, what is that depth to our stratum? Is equal to, we found out from the stability number, the ratio depth factor df is equal to your d to h is called the depth factor, and your slip center passes relatively deeper, it goes through a deeper stratum compared to passing through the toe when your slope angle is slightly greater. Therefore, for coincisoid, we need to have the depth factor evaluated so that I know how can I have the factor safety evaluated. Before going to the stability chart, I'll give you the stability chart which he has prepared. It's also important to know the stability number Sn is equal to C by Fc gamma h. Now I know what is my factor safety with respect to cohesion. What is my Fc? It is C by Cm. Therefore, Cm is equal to C by Fc. Therefore, this term I can write it as, therefore, I get stability number is equal to Cm by gamma h. This is one way of expressing. Then, we also know that your factor safety with respect to cohesion is equal to the critical height, okay, hc to h, means this is the height of the slope, okay, where hc is the critical height of slope. What do you mean by critical height of the slope? Means this is when your factor safety with respect to cohesion becomes unity. Means all the, for that height, okay, your factor safety is completely not more, it is equal to, means the resistive force and the driving force are equal. Therefore, it is critical. It is likely to, it doesn't have any other additional factor safety. It is likely to fail. That is the meaning of critical height. This is the height to which you are going to design. Therefore, I can express this h is equal to h into 7, fc into h is equal to hc. Therefore, what I can do is, now I got my stability number c by fc into gamma into h. Now let me substitute for fc into h. Okay, I get c by gamma into hc. Therefore, both the terms, now compare these two. This is also stability number. When I have got an height, okay, so much is mobilized. When the complete cohesion, that is, this is at failure. See, when you determine the value of cohesion in the laboratory or the value of phi in the laboratory, that is the values evaluated at the critical condition or when the failure has taken place. Therefore, in reality, this complete amount of cohesion is not really mobilized till it fails. Therefore, usually we don't design for that. Okay, we try to have some factor safety, some reserve cohesion value. Therefore, when you are using a complete mobilization, therefore you will have a critical height. Therefore, either I can take this or I take mobilized cohesion to the height which you are trying to design. This is the way of understanding. Then second thing, see, we need to evaluate the factor safety. Now, so what happens? Sometimes we may have a submerged condition. We may have a canal, and you have got a canal. Okay, canal is running full. Now, what happens? The canal is running full. This is also a slope. Now, I need to evaluate what is the factor safety. I got some slope. Okay, I got I. Now I need to find out when the canal running full. When the canal is running full, it is in a submerged condition, therefore I need to use gamma submerged or gamma dash in evaluating Sn. Therefore Sn is equal to Cy Fc gamma dash H. Okay, now this is I need to use gamma dash while evaluating the stability number. Then, and the canal is emptied. It is not only canal, see, it may be canal or you may have an embankment for storing water. I have stored water here. Okay, the full condition, and suddenly there is a drop down. When there is a drop down condition, for that condition also we need to evaluate what is the factor safety. That becomes more critical. Then it becomes what happens when this level reduces. What happens? This was floating. There was some buoyancy. Now what is happening? It is now the weight increases. When there is a drawdown or there is a drop in the water level, this weight increases. This weight increases. Therefore, what I need to do? I need to use Sn C by Fc. I need to use a gamma saturated into H, and while evaluating this I need to use phi. What phi I need to use? Here phi I need to use a weighted angle of friction. This is equal to tan. I am going to use the ratio of gamma submerged to gamma saturated into tan phi dash divided by f phi. In other words, this is this thing. I can use approximately, what is this value? This quantity is nothing but phi m. Okay, tan phi divided by. Therefore, I can write it as tan phi m. Therefore, I can remove this tan because for small angles of phi less than 15 at 10 degrees. Okay, it is going to be almost the tan of phi is equal to phi value. Okay, I am going to write this as gamma dash by gamma saturated into phi m. Therefore, whenever I want to evaluate the stability number, okay, based on that, I want to find out what is my factor safety. I want to find out the factor safety. What I do is, I need to find out the weighted friction angle by taking the ratio of the submerged unit weight to the saturated unit weight, multiply with this value of phi m, mobilized friction angle. So if your phi is say 20 degrees, you may take say 18 degrees is mobilized. Okay, that's what you assume. How you are going to assume? Okay, you are going to divide by that factor of safety f phi to the tan phi. Then I am going to phi divided by your phi m is equal to phi divided by f phi. Based on whatever f phi you are going to assume, I am going to get a mobilized angle of friction. To that value, multiply by this ratio, take this weighted friction angle. From the chart, which I will draw the chart and I will explain to you. From that, for that given slope angle, I can find out what is my stability number. From this, I am evaluating the stability number. From this, I am getting my factor safety. Okay. There are two things. One thing is to find out my stability number and get my factor safety. Or for a given factor safety, I can find out what is my stability number and I can use my the value to find out what is the slope angle. Two things, okay, I told you the two applications. One is to find out the factor safety with respect to collision. The other one is to find out the slope angle or what slope angle I need to design. These two things can be done when there is this is the most critical condition when there is a drawdown. When it is, see, you might have experienced when you are swimming, you feel light. Okay, once you come out of the swimming pool, you feel as if you are having an increase in your weight. Okay, similar thing, what happens when there is a certain drawdown, your weight is going to increase, the slope is going to experience the increased rate which is equal to the saturated rate. Therefore, the saturated rate has to be used in the calculation of stability number. Let us understand this by taking some examples. Before going to the examples, I will just draw a typical chart so that you understand what Taylor has done this. Okay, wonderful work. For his memorable work, we should be very much thankful to him. And the Boston Society of Civil Engineers in America, the Boston Society was very much attached with the Boston Society of Civil Engineers. He was given the Desmond Fitzgerald Award for his paper on this stability slope, for this stability chart. Now let us see what are the features of this chart. We have slope angle from 10, 20, 30, color vision. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Okay. 60, 70, 80 and 90. This is the slope angle. And stability values 0.0, this is 0.02, this goes up to 0.24, 0.22, 0.28, 0.16, 0.14, 0.12. Okay, this goes, yeah, doesn't matter, I don't have any space. Now this is how it looks, a typical graph. Okay, somewhere from 25, it goes somewhere up to this like this. But different values of is actually calculated these values by using the friction circle method. This is phi is equal to 25, phi is equal to 20, phi is equal to 15, phi is equal to 10. Then phi is equal to 5 and ultimately phi is equal to 0. Like this, yes, develop the chart, and also the depth factor is also given here. For the depth factor 0.18, okay, somewhere it's a 0.22, 0.2, 0.18. And somewhere here, drawn a horizontal line, okay, means the value, okay, Sn equal to 0.18 is the maximum value, okay, then df is equal to infinity. Now you have curves like this. df is equal to 4, df is equal to 3, df is equal to 2. Okay, like this, okay, different values of 1.1, 1.5. Okay, like this, he has given the df. Now what we can do is, for any given slope angle, for example, I got my slope angle of 45 degrees. Okay, I want to design for a slope angle of 45 degrees. Okay, or it has been constructed. I want to find out what is the factor of safety. Now I need to find out what is my stability. This is the stability number on this axis. Now let us say my friction angle is 20. I go to that particular chart, okay, the curve. I read out my Sn value. From that Sn value, I am going to use this expression C by Sn into gamma h. Now I have read out the Sn value from here. I substitute here. I know gamma, I know h, I know what is my cohesion. I get my factor safety with respect to cohesion. Other words, if I want to design, for example, I have my cohesion. Okay, I got my cohesion. Okay, now what I'll do is I need to find out my Sn. Okay, now I need to get my slope angle. My requirement is I. To get my I value, what I'll do is, I know my C is there, I know gamma, okay, I know my height. This is prescribed. So let us say I want 1.6 vector safety with respect to version. Now for this, what I'll do is, I'll try to find out what is Sn. I know C, I know gamma, I know H, I know Sn, sorry, Fc. Fc is equal to 1.6. From this, I found out my Sn. From the value of Sn, what I do is, I'll read out from the value of Sn, I know my friction angle, I'll come back here, I get my slope angle. Therefore, I am trying to use Sn for two things. One is to find out to design a slope, a new slope at a required factor safety, I find out what is my slope. For an existing slope, with the given properties, I can evaluate what is my factor safety. How safe is the existing slope against the factor safety against cohesion. Now we'll try to work out some few numerical examples. They are very interesting, simple examples. In the first thing, okay, you got the data given is phi equal to 20 degrees, C is equal to 20 kilonewton per meter square, gamma is equal to 18 kilonewton per meter cube. The factor safety Fc, okay, H is equal to 10 meters. Required, you are required to find out what is the slope angle. Now he has given a chart. He has given the slope angle. He has given the stability number 90, 75, 60, 45, 30, 20 and 0. Okay, now the value for 90, this stability number is 0.182, this is 0.134, 0.097, 0.062, 0.025, 0.005 and 0. Now, first to find out what is Sn. Sn is equal to Fc, sorry, C by Fc gamma H. C is given, this is 20, the factor safety is given as 1.25, gamma is 18, H is 10 meters. I get the stability number as 0.0888. Okay. For this value, now look here, 0.088, okay, it is somewhere between these two. Okay. Now let me write this value. Okay. What is the stability number and what is slope angle? Now, when my stability number is 0.097, the slope angle is 60 degrees. When my stability number is 0.062, the slope angle is 45 degrees. Now, when my the stability number is 0.0888, this is the value. What is the value of I? That I need to find out. Now, if I try to do an interpolation, linear interpolation, I get I is equal to, see what is happening, this is decreasing, this is also decreasing. Therefore, 60 degrees minus, I need to 0.097 minus 0.062 0.088 millimeter, 0.097. It's a rule of 3 into this difference is 60 minus 45. For a difference of 60 minus 45, this is the difference. For so much difference, what is this value? Therefore, I get 56.49 degrees. Therefore, it is reasonable. It is between 60 and 45. Okay, this is a very simple example. Now we will try to work out for canal running full and canal emptied. Okay, we will try to take up that example. Students, we will go to the next variety of problem. A new canal is excavated to a depth of 5 meters below ground level in a soil having the following characteristics. Okay, the depth of excavation H is 5 meters. It's a new canal. And the properties are given as phi is equal to 15 degrees and C is equal to 14 kilonewton per meter square. Then is given E is equal to 0.8, GS is equal to 2.7. Okay, then is given a side slope. Okay, is given the slope, side slope is 1:1. Therefore, I is equal to 45 degrees. Okay, now asking the required quantity. What is required? This is the data given. Now, canal, this is also required. The data given is canal running full. Is asking canal running full. What is the factor safety? Canal emptied suddenly. Now, students, he has not given the unit weight. Unit weight has to be found out. He has given the void ratio. He has given this. Okay, now it is running full. Therefore, you can just draw a small diagram. Okay, this is 45 degrees. Approximately, you can draw. See, you try to learn how to draw freehand diagrams. Okay, the height is almost full, means it is running full, almost up to the brim. Now I need to find out what is my, this is the slope angle, I is equal to 45 degrees, because this is 1:1. Now the void ratio is given, E is being given. Okay, now I need to find out what is my E naught in the field is 0.8. Okay, E or E naught, okay, doesn't matter. It is E. Because it is submerged, it is, the saturation is 1 or 100%. Now what I need to do? I need to find out my gamma saturated. It is also given the specific gravity. GS is 2.7. The specific gravity of solid solids. My expression for gamma saturated is equal to G plus E by 1 plus E into gamma W is my expression. Now let me substitute. In fact, I have not done the problem. I will work out here only. This is 0.8 divided by 1 plus 0.8 into 9.81. Let me see what is the value. (2.7) plus 0.8 divided by 1.8 into 9.81. I get 19.075. What is my unit? Kilonewton per. Usually in the class, what I do, I ask the students, okay, now what is the unit? Okay, it is kilonewton per meter square. Meter square or meter cube? Meter cube. Okay, now kilonewton per meter square is unit for pressure. Now once I get my value, I need to check whether my value is acceptable, whether it is reasonable. So if I get say 25 or 30, can I have such high value? No, it is wrong. Therefore, somewhere I have gone wrong. Therefore, I need to check. Sometimes I may get say 14 or 15. Can I get so low value of gamma saturated? It cannot be. Therefore, ensure that your value is right. Then, what I need to do? I need to find out case 1. Canal running full. When the canal is running full, okay, now what is my gamma? I need to use gamma submerged. Gamma submerged is equal to gamma saturated minus gamma W. What is gamma saturated? 19.075 minus 9.81 is equal to 19.075 minus 9.265 kilonewton per meter cube. Never forget to write the units. Now I need to find out my factor safety. Factor safety with respect to cohesion is equal to C by Sn gamma dash into H. You need to be very careful. Now what is my value of C? C is 14 kilonewton per meter square divided by Sn is, now I don't know my value of Sn. How to get my value of Sn? Okay. Now what I need to do? I need to refer to the chart. So let me refer to the chart. For the slope angle 45 degrees. Okay. For the given value of phi is 15 degrees. If I read out from my chart, okay, the chart is here. Okay, now this is 15 degrees. This is 15 degrees. Okay, slope angle is 45. For 15 degrees, if I read out, this is 25, 20 and 15 for 15 degree. It comes around 0.08 to Sn from chart, okay, is equal to 0.0 0.08. This is the stability number. Now once I read out my value, what I need to do, I want to substitute here. Okay, Sn is 0.082 into gamma dash is 9.265 into H is 5 meters. Because he has given it is a slope canal which is having a height of 5 meters. When I do the calculation, 0.082 into 9.265 into 5, I take 1 over x into 14, I get an answer. Factor safety is 3.68. Now see the beauty. Now we will see, understand very important thing, the factor safety is very high. It's a very good thing. Now let us go to the next condition. When the canal completely empties, okay, this gets emptied and this gets emptied, what happens? Let us go to the case 2. Case emptied suddenly. Whenever someone comes suddenly, there is, or whenever the demand it gets emptied, then in this condition I need to use the weighted friction angle. Okay, weighted friction angle is equal to, now I need to, okay, without using the friction angle, let us assume that the friction value is same thing, it has not got reduced, or I can still use friction angle, okay, gamma dash by gamma saturated into mobilized thing. Now assuming that this value of mobilized coefficient is equal to completely it has been mobilized. Therefore, what I'll do is gamma dash is 9 point. What is the value? Is 19.075 minus 9.81. Value is 9.265 divided by 19.075 into 5m. I use 15 only. Means the complete has been mobilized. There is no. I'm taking here. I'm assuming phi is equal to 1. Therefore, 5m is equal to the value of 5. Now, what is this value when I take this ratio? 9.265 divided by 19.075 into 15 degrees. I get 7.285 degrees. Okay. Now, for this value of 5, now I need to interpolate. Okay. When I do this, what happens? For angle of 15, say phi is equal to 15. For I is equal to 45 degrees, phi is equal to 15, the stability value Sn is equal to 0.082. For phi is equal to 10 degrees, not 10 degrees because I need is less than, let us go for this. Because it is less than 10. Okay. Now let me read out the values. For 45 degrees, when phi is equal to 10 degrees, the value of stability number is approximately 0.11. When it is 5 degrees, the stability number comes to 0.1, 0.2. 1, 2, okay. Now my value of phi is in between here. Therefore, I need to do the interpolation and get my Sn value. Once I get my Sn value, I can do that. Okay. Now what will be the value? What is this value? Phi w here. Okay. Now what is happening? This is as the value of phi is reducing. This is also reducing, therefore it is increasing, Sn is increasing. Therefore, for it is increasing, therefore I need to add. Okay. Then for a difference of phi, okay, this is for a difference of phi. What is the difference? 0.122 minus 0.11. Okay, now the difference is for 10 minus 7.285 and the numerator. Denominator is 10 minus of 5. The difference here is 0.122 minus 0.11. Let me check what is the value. Minus 0.11 to bracket 10 minus of 0.1 into 10 minus 7.285 divided by 5 plus 0.11. The value comes to 0.1165. Therefore, it is right. Okay, it is increasing. Now, for this value of Sn, I need to find out my factor safety. Now, Fc is equal to C by Sn into gamma saturated into H. Now this is the difference, students. In the first case, I have taken gamma submerged, I am taking saturated unit weight. Therefore, I didn't erase this value because I wanted to, instead of remembering, the C value is 14, the SN value is 0.1165 into gamma saturated is 19.075 into H is 5 meters. Now what is this value? Let us see. Then you will understand the beauty of this case. 0.1165 into 19.075 into 5 over x into 14, 1.26. Now the factor safety has reduced. In the first case it was something 3.28 or something, or 2.8 or something. It was more than 3. Therefore what happened? What has happened? The value of factor safety has reduced very near to 1. So therefore this is a very critical condition. Whenever there is a sudden drawdown, it may be an embankment, it may be a canal. Therefore you always have to check, not only when it is running full, when there is a sudden drawdown. If the drawdown is not taking slowly, suddenly the emptying takes place in a dam or in a canal. Therefore, I need to check what is going to happen to my factor safety. This is a very important thing. Now we go to another variety of problem that probably completes this chapter. Before I can summarize. Now, sometimes in temporary excavation we can use this stability. Now there is a temporary cutting. We are making a cutting. Now in a temporary cutting, it is 8 meter deep. It is to be done in clay. Now the unit weight is 18 kilonewton per meter cube. Now C is equal to 25 kilonewton per meter square. The hard stratum is found at a depth of 12 meters. That means is equal to D. Then he is telling below the ground surface, use Taylor stability curve to estimate. Okay, required to find. There is a slope of 30 degrees. Whether this slope is stable is a question mark. Now the factor of safety prescribed is 1.25. Now I got a arch stratum to 12 meters depth. I am making 8 meters excavation. Okay, that and I got a slope. Okay, now what happens? I have made a excavation like this, something like this. I made excavation to a height of 8 meters. And below I got this is another 6 meters. Therefore the complete height, okay, this becomes D. This D is 14 meters. This is the arch stratum. Now we need to understand whether this factor safety is it sufficient or are able to achieve, okay, it is there or not, okay. For this given excavation, this I is equal to 30. Now when I use this data, the depth factor is equal to D by H. D is 14 meters by H is not 14 meters, this is 4 meters. Sorry, this is 12 meters. This is 12 divided by 8, this becomes 1.5. Okay. Now from the chart, if I refer to the chart, okay, I think all of you can see this. For angle 30 degrees and DF is equal to 1.5. This is 1, this is 1.5. Okay, this is 1.2, 1.5. DF is equal to 2, DF is equal to 3, and DF is equal to 4. Now corresponding to 1, 2, 3, third one, for an angle equal to I is equal to 30. if I read out from this, okay, Sn value comes to from Taylor's stability chart for df is equal to 1.5 and phi is equal to 30 degrees, so not phi is equal to 30 degrees, I is equal to 30 degrees, this slope angle is equal to 30 degrees, because this is a purely cozy soil. In a purely cozy soil, this is a purely cozy soil, phi is 0, you don't have phi value here, therefore you are bringing a depth factor into consideration. Okay, now I is equal to 30 and df is equal to your Sn value is coming to 0.162. Therefore, when I use this and evaluate my C values, evaluate my factor safety with respect to cohesion, I will come to know whether my slope is stable. See, here you don't have any water table, therefore whatever unit weight has been given, you have to take that value. This is 8 and I get a factor safety of 1.07. Oh my god, it's very near to 1. It is not safe because my requirement, I need to have a factor safety of 1.25. Now I need to make a comment. Since the evaluated factor safety with respect to cohesion is 1.07, which is less than 1.25, the required factor safety. So the slope is not safe, or stable. Let's say temporary excavation, even for a temporary excavation, the prescribed value of 1.25 is required, otherwise it is going to fall in a time. Therefore, it is not going to maintain the slope, okay, it is going to become still more flat, okay, it is going to collapse. Therefore, that if it is going to slide, okay, it is going to slide and this is going to slope like this and becomes a still flatter slope. That is what is going to happen. Therefore, it is going to come into your excavation. So, this is the mechanics, this is the practicality. You need to understand. Simply solving numerical example to get a value is not thing. You need to understand the importance of what is the practicality of understanding this procedure to evaluate the factor safety and how we are going to use it in a real-time problem. Okay. To summarize, I think I have covered in this chapter how to evaluate the factor safety. Now, stability of slopes, we have discussed in this chapter what is the definition of a slope and what are the different classifications of slopes. We got in natural slopes and man-made slopes. And also we discussed what are infinite slopes and finite slopes. We have seen what are the factors that affect the stability of slopes, what are the causes for the slope to fail, and we have seen what is meant by factor safety, what is limit equilibrium methods, what are the assumptions. Then we went to the different classification of failure of slopes, how they are going to fail, whether it is a rotational slip failure or a compound slip failure or a translation failure or a wedge failure. We have seen all those classifications and details. Then we went to the various methods using the limit equilibrium method. I listed all the methods, but I concentrated on the limit equilibrium methods and what is there in the syllabus. We are trying to cover the Swedish slip circle method for a purely cozy soil and Swedish method of slices for a C5 soil. Then we try to discuss friction circle method, and using friction circle method, how Taylor tried to simplify the problem, and he has developed the curves and the stability number, brought out the stability number and the stability the curves for evaluating the stability number for the different values of the angle of slope or a I value from say 20 to say 90 degrees and 10 degrees to 90 degrees. And well, for a pure cozy soil, okay, got the sixth parameter in addition to the 3 plus 2, that is 3 is the angle of internal friction, the cohesion, and the unit weight, that is the metal property, and slope height and the angle of the slope. In addition to that, we have got a depth factor. The depth factor is nothing but the ratio of the depth of the ground surface to the hard stratum below the cozy soil to the height of the slope. That depth factor he has tried to relate, and he has developed a relationship between the depth factor and the stability number, and that can be used in solving the problems. And this is a very simple method. Really, he has struggled to do so many tries to develop that chart, and our life is so simple. We can either evaluate the factor safety for an existing slope, or you can design a new slope for the risk and factor safety. And this chapter is complete, and we will try to discuss about the next aspect about the bearing capacity of soils in the later video, in the later sessions. And for this session, I think this is the end. Thank you.